how much is a $2 bill really worth? In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. This is the only video you'll ever need when it comes to $2 bills. So sit tight, and without wasting any more time, let's just hop right into this $2 bill video. So this first bill right here, by the way, I'm a big fan of $2 bills. This one sold for $3,600. Now, a few important factors that we need to understand is that $2 bills are actually still produced to this day, and the majority of them, unless they're in this video, are not that rare. I actually go to my local bank and pick up $2 bills and spend them at local stores and give them away as tips because people go crazy over these $2 bills. Now, here are a few important things that we need to know. This $2 bill right here was from the series of 1976. Now, just because a bill has a date on it like this does not mean that's the exact year it was produced. This bill could have been produced in 1977, 1978, 1979, etc. And the reason for this is because when they're producing the plates for these $2 bills, it is a timely and costly process to produce all of these plates, and they don't want to have to change the date on that specific plate every single year. This is consistent with all denominations of paper money, by the way. And when I say denomination, I just mean $1, $2, $5, $10 bills, etc. All different denominations. So on this specific bill here, if you look on the left-hand side of the bill, you'll see a large letter A. What that means is that is the district letter. Now, you'll also see that letter A at the start of the serial number. That is always going to be the case. Now, that letter on the left can be anything from A all the way to L. And that prefix letter in the serial number should always match that large district letter. For example, if that was a large B, the prefix letter would also be a B. If it was a C, the prefix would be C, etc. If those are not the same, that could be very rare and valuable. Next, you're going to see 4 small number 1s around the bill. That is the district number. That 1 should always match the letter. For example, A is the first letter in the alphabet. Now, if that district number was a B, those numbers around the bill would be 2s. If the district letter was a C, the numbers around the bill would be a 3 because it's the third letter in the alphabet. If the letter and the position in the alphabet number do not match, that can be incredibly rare. Not many people know that. Also, sometimes depending on which district your bill was printed for will dictate how many bills were produced for that specific run. For example, Texas, which is District K, and San Francisco, which is District L, a lot of the times produce less bills and are worth more money. One last thing I'll say really quickly is the front plate position. Now, that's going to be the tiny letter and number you see in 2 places on the front of the bill. That is more important for the Bureau of Engraving and Printing where they produce these bills. This is an internal number and letter combination just for bookkeeping purposes and understanding where the specific bill was located on the plate. What you need to know is that if there is no FW before that plate position on the front of the bill, that means your bill was produced at the Washington, D.C. facility. If you see a small FW on your bill, that means it was produced at the Fort Worth facility. There are only 2 places in the U.S. that U.S. paper money is produced. That's in Washington, D.C. and Fort Worth, Texas. Now, the main reason why this bill sold for $3,600 is because it's missing the first print. Now, it's important to know that during the printing process, the back of the bill is printed first, then the front of the bill is printed second, and the third and final print is going to be the district seal on the left, the treasury seal on the right, the serial numbers at the top right and bottom left, and the district numbers, which are those 4 black numbers around the bill. That is the last print. This bill is completely missing the first print, which is the back. Now, if you come across a bill like this, you need to get it authenticated because there are people out there that will see a video like this, try to strip away the front or the back of a bill to replicate this look and make it look like a true error. Now, I advise against that for multiple reasons. 1, you're defacing US federal currency, which is against the law, and 2, that would be fraud because you're intentionally scamming and ripping someone off by altering US paper money. And 3, come on, I somewhat believe in karma, and this is just bad practice if you're trying to rip someone off by altering a bill like this. Now, the good thing about this one is it was authenticated by a third-party company called PMG, where they grade and authenticate the bill. Now, this one was graded by PMG at a 50 EPQ, which means there will be some folds and some denting on the bill. If you get to a 60 or higher, that means there's pretty much no folds whatsoever. Every single fold that you put on your bill will decrease the value, so keep it somewhere safe and flat. If you don't have anywhere for the time being, keep it in a book or somewhere flat so it does not get bent. Just do not forget about it because I've literally found rare paper money in a book that I bought before. That is a true story. You do not want to be that person who forgets a rare bill in a book. But again, because this one is missing that back first print, this bill sold for $3,600. Now, when you're looking at the back of this bill, you have no idea why it sold for $19,200. And remember, the back of the bill is printed first, the front of the bill is printed second, and the last print is the overprint, which when we flip the bill over, you'll see that third and final print is doubled. This is a great example of showing you which print is the third print. Everything that is not doubled right there is the second print. Everything that is doubled is the third print. What you need to know is that this is one of the most highly altered bills I've seen when it comes to $2 bills. People will essentially put this in their printer and try to replicate this error and sell it online for a lot of money. There's a few ways you can tell the difference. If you come across one of these bills, you need to see it in person and get a USB microscope or a magnifying glass, and you want to loop the area that's doubled. Now, if it's an altered bill, the area that's doubled is going to look like it was through a printer. There's going to be laser printed particles on the bill, and the seal and serial numbers will not look the same. You pretty much want to look for characteristics that are similar. Another way to tell is that if you look closely at the end of the serial number, you'll see that it ends with 644 and the serial number below ends with 640. There's a reason for that. When this machine is stamping these bills, every time it comes down and puts a serial number on the bill, the dial will shift and turn to a new number and print again. All of the altered ones I've seen use this identical number, which is very uncommon unless that serial number printer got somehow jammed and wasn't able to rotate the dial. What you need to know is that if you come across a bill like this, make sure you understand if it's real or not. Don't be spending a lot of money unless you have it in hand and you're confident that it's real. Lastly, just get it graded because that's the way to get the most money for a bill like this that sold for $19,200. $1,150 for this 1976 $2 bill. Now I'll jump right into this one. If you can see at the end of the serial number, there is a star designation. That means that this is a star or replacement note. What that means essentially is that during the printing process, these bills are produced in sheets, and sometimes those sheets have an error on the sheet, and a quality control manager will mark off the sheet so it could be later destroyed. Now, whenever they destroy any paper money, they need to replace that destroyed money to keep up with the checks and balances and to make sure that nobody inside is actually stealing the money. Everything is very well calculated and recorded to make sure that they're producing enough money for the US, and also there's no theft going on. So what you need to know is that if a specific print run had a lot of errors, the star notes are going to be worth less, but if there is a small number of errors that happened, that means there's not going to be too many star notes. The less star notes there are, the more demand there is for a specific series. What you also need to know is that this one graded at a 68 PPQ. That's only 2 points away from the perfect grade of 70. Now, the way that you get a high grade with paper money is essentially you need to have your bill have no folds or bends on it whatsoever. And also the centering of the bill needs to be very well centered. You can see the margins or the white area around the bill. They're all pretty equal. Sometimes it will be misaligned and shifted around. Essentially what you need to know is the more centered your bill is, the better, because this one, they graded at a 68 PPQ, sold for $1,150. So this is a genuine, real bill. I won't spend too much time here, but it's sold for $88,125. What you need to know is that 1928, when this bill was produced, was the first year they started producing small size paper money bills. This red that you see here is completely normal. This is considered to be a legal tender note. Now, yes, you could technically bring this to a bank or a store and pay with it and get $2 of value for it, but there's a few reasons why that would be a horrible idea. One, it's worth a lot more money to collectors, given that it sold for $88,125. And two, most people think these bills are fake and they would probably, unfortunately, call the cops. There are literally stories of that out there. Remember, this is a star note, so on top of it already being rare from 1928, it being a high grade by PMG at a 65, to bat, it's also a star note. So it's got so many good things going on for it, which is why it sold for $88,125. Not going to spend too much time here, but $35,250 for this 1976 $2 bill star note that is a serial number 1. Now that's the main reason here, guys, is that it is a high grade and it's also a serial number 1. What you need to know is that the better looking the serial number is, the more rare it is, the more valuable it's going to be. Because the star note graded very highly and it's a serial number 1, it sold for $35,250. Not going to spend a lot of time here, but this $2 bill sold for $79,312.50. So this is one of my favorite types of bills. This is an 1869 $2 bill. That's right, from the year 1869. And this is also a large size bill. Again, 100% real, genuine bill. Now collectors call this a rainbow note due to the colors on the bill, you can see there's the blue security fibers on the left, there's the green ornate colors on the top, and then you have the large spiked red seal on the right hand side. Just look at how beautiful the design of this bill is. Look at the back, all of the detail that goes into a bill like this. Now remember, this is after the Confederate War, so they were adding more security features to reduce counterfeiting. This bill graded at a monster 68. That's 2 points away from 70, which is the perfect grade. If you have a rainbow note from 1869, one of my favorite types of bills, you've hit the mother lode because this one sold for almost $80,000. I'll try to hit this one quick, but this $2 bill sold for $2,530. So the first thing you'll notice on this bill is that it says Specimen on the front and the back. Those are stamps that are produced by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. So the story on these Specimen notes is that there are banks around the world that accept US federal currency, and they needed some way to tell if people were giving them fake bills or not. So what the US did was they produced Specimen bills and they shipped them across the world to different banks so they could have a baseline of what a genuine bill looked like. That's all a Specimen note really is. Sometimes Specimen notes are an example of a bill before it goes into final production. Now, a way you can tell if you have a Specimen note is the serial number. Almost all of the time, the serial number will be a fancy serial. This example goes from 2 all the way to 9 consecutively. I've seen serial numbers that are solid zeros. They'll pretty much be anything except a normal serial number. Now, that's important because there are people out there that will get a small Specimen stamper and try to replicate this because they can say, hey, I can turn a $2 bill into $2,500 like this person did. But again, this is a genuine bill because it was authenticated by PMG. If you have a Specimen note, it could be very rare because again, guys, this one sold for $2,530. If you did or did not know about Specimen notes, leave me a comment below letting me know if you learned something or you already knew about these bills, and I'll see you guys in the next video.